All right, hello. Welcome to the Saturday dev stream. We're gonna start with doing a little UI update here. Jacqueline has drawn some new doohickeys for the UI for these the little time clock and the flute icon and mana bar. So I'm gonna start by taking this background here and creating a new sprite out of it. All right. Oops. Okay. So here we go. Here's what we got. And I'm going to go to the UI prefab. We'll go ahead and crack that open. Wait a second. And I'm going to start by clicking on this clock background. No, not radial gradient. I think it's this one right here. So I'll go ahead and duplicate this one as a starting point. Hey, Too Good TV. Looking for a game I can play passively when I'm working or something. I don't think you can play a game while you're working, right? Seems like it would be pretty hard to do. Maybe like a mobile, like Scrabble turn-based thing where you only take an action every like 10 minutes or something. Let's call this clock wood, maybe wood clock BG. Satisfactory. I haven't played that. All right, now I'm gonna open that and we're gonna get started on making this background. I'll go ahead and bring in, let's exit out of these things. I'll bring in what we have here. Mana bar, block copy. I think it's just maybe this. Put that in here. Also, there is like this adjustment layer over it. I'll just get rid of that. And let's see if we can just get the actual, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna rasterize or like merge this into one thing. Because we're not gonna use anything from it. I'm just gonna use it as a guide. Oops. I'm gonna get it to constrain here. There we go. Okay. All right, and then let's make each individual part. So I'm just gonna make some circles. What is this, a clipping layer? I don't think we need that. Because there is like some texture in it. Well, we're just gonna get new texture for it. Remove that. And oh, actually no, that texture was actually good resolution. Let me leave that there. Gonna remove that, and then let's just start with a circle. I'm just gonna hold shift to make it a perfect circle. And then I'm gonna fill it with color. And then make sure it's centered. It doesn't quite look centered. I guess it is. Okay, and then next we've got this other circle, which I will just create a new circle and then scale this one down to be the same size. Holding Alt. Go. Something like that maybe. Okay, and now we have our two circles. And we can use this like overlay if we want. Add a little texture. Let's put this thing right in the middle in terms of its value range. use its whole value range here. And I'll just leave that for the end. Wow, it's really hard to even tell the difference between these. Interesting. Because they look pretty different. Jacqueline's drawing, I'll just make sure they look more different than they... This is so weird. I can't tell what's happening here because... Here we go. Okay. Lighten that one up. Oh, this one's 26%. That's why. Oh, okay, that's why. That's why I couldn't see it. All right, that was weird. There we go. Okay, then we put this back at 100%. And I will go ahead and maybe just add a mask to this and turn it on so now we can get a little bit of overlay here. And I'll just turn it down so it's very subtle. Okay, now we need some little dots. I want a perfectly round brush, 100% hardness, and let's see what color her dots are. I'll put this on the top. They're just very light. I'll just sample. And let me make some dots right where she has the dots. I want to make them a little bit bigger so that they actually come off over the edge to give a little silhouette detail. I think that'd be nice. Are they even dots? Are they lines? They might be lines. We'll start by making them dots and we'll see how that looks. Here we go. Wait, what is this layer? This layer's nothing. All right, here we go with our dots. Just put them right where she has them. And I think that she painted these by hand, which is good. It's not going to be too clinical. If we evenly space them perfectly, then it might look a little bit clinical. Like a little hand-drawn touch here. Izumi, hello, welcome. Okay, how's that look? Whoa! Huh. For some reason, our dots look kind of crazy. It is really weird. Like, some of our dots are just going way off. For some reason. And ours are just really big, I think. Yeah, they're just a little bit too big. So first of all, I want to move some of the ones that are just hanging off the edge way too much. I don't really quite know how this happened, but I wanted them to alter the silhouette, but I think this is a little much. Like that. There, that seems to look a little bit better. We still have a bunch over here that could probably benefit from moving in just a little bit. It just looks sloppy, honestly. It looks really bad. Sloppy. I don't know, maybe it'll look better once it's smaller. Okay, anyhow, let's see what else. Yeah, hers are just like lines. Let's go with lines. I think we made a mistake here. So lines should be pretty easy. Will they be easy? You know, maybe I should just make them equidistant. I was going for the hand-drawn look. It's not looking good. I'm gonna rethink this. So what I'll do is I'll just make a new line. Let's go like 9 pixels. how big to make this thing. Something like that, maybe? Yeah, let's do that. And it's a little bit, I want it to be a little bit lighter and a little bit less saturated. All right, and then I'm gonna copy, rotate 90 degrees. And then merge that down. Copy, rotate 45 degrees. And then copy. Okay, this one, rotate some mathematical amount of degrees. Maybe we'll just roll with that. Okay, and we just will put it under. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Wait, why doesn't that work? What the heck? Oh, because I didn't get both of them. Wow, I'm really stupid right now. All right, and I'll just use a clipping mask. There we go. I guess that does look better. We'll go with that. I thought it would look too sterile, but I was wrong. Okay, most of this stuff on here is just like clock, like this, all of this mana bar and everything. That'll be in the UI, so we don't need to worry about that. And then this other part, I'm gonna make a little circle that goes in the middle here. And looks like perhaps this one is a little bit lighter, right? Yeah, that seems about right. A little bit lighter, a little bit less saturated, maybe. Okay, and then we'll turn on our layer there. And then she has like this little fade going on. Oh, you know, it's not big enough. I'm gonna make a bigger one. Whoa. Something like that, maybe. And then I'll just adjust this until it looks like our other one. Okay, and she has like this little fade shadow going on. I'll do like an inner shadow or inner glow and make it just a little bit bigger. And then make it dark. In screen mode right now, I just want it to be, well, let's just go normal. And we'll just color pick it right there. And then just make it a little bit darker than the rest. That's actually just black, whatever. Increase the opacity. No, I do want it to have some color. Okay, I want it to have even more color than that. Oh, there we go. Something like that. We can try it. Okay, I'm gonna give that a save and we'll head over to Unity and let's go to our clock. So here's our clock background. Yep, and it seems like in order to make this happen, we can just copy this and say wood clock BG and then load in our wood clock. Make sure that it's white, turn this off. Now we can see our wood clock and then we'll just make it a little bigger. I don't know what I have to hold to lock the proportions here. There we go. Okay, and it's gonna be, wow, why is ours so far off? That's weird. Huh. This is really strange. So looking at hers, maybe she scaled everything down. I think she must have. She must have. Weird. That is so weird how different coming out. Huh. Okay, well, let's check that out and save it. Yeah, she has tons of space on the bottom. Huh. I don't get it. Super weird. Did she lift it? Also, why does this sun seem like it's not lined up? There, now it's lined up. Really weird. Okay, and if I rotate the sun, actually, let's make sure that's working. The sun seems to stay in its track. That's nice. Well, I really don't know why this thing is working like that, but I guess we'll roll with it. Because like looking at hers, she finishes it. Oh, I guess hers is a little off center here. No, it's not. Like her circle goes right around. It just looks like hers was overall smaller than mine. So we might have to scale the whole thing down. I'm not sure. But we'll leave it like that for now. And then we need to do that little doohickey at the bottom, this little flower thing. I'll just paint a fresh one. So going in back to Unity. You know what's really weird? It says that there's, I think my, I think my restream is broken right now because it says that there's 0 viewers. That doesn't sound right. Or there's some viewers. Twitch says that there's 23 viewers. So that's really strange. Well, I hope everything is working. Let me hop over to the YouTube side of things and see how that's going. YouTube is going. It says that there's 8 watching. Huh. Very confusing. Okay. Elysian, hello, hello. Oh yes, wonderful evening. Yeah, it's 1:57 p.m. where I am. The game is going very well, I think. Yeah, I think things are going well. At the moment we're just doing some UI update stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is grab the wood clock we just made, and I want to change this to wood. I'll call it wood doohickey. Maybe even wood clock doohickey. That. All right. And we'll just make, looking at the reference here, it seems like yeah, we can just paint a little something. Let's try my hand here. So I don't need any of this other stuff. I'll just leave it up for whatever reason to have it there to see. But I want to paint a little leaf shape. And then I'll go ahead and paint these little petals here. Okay. And I'll go a layer above and turn mine off. And then let's maybe desaturate that. Let's go a little lighter with it. I hate this grid, I really do. I know there's a way to turn it off. I never remember it. And I'm just gonna paint these little lines. Oh, I guess they should be a little thicker. Let's paint these little lines here. Paint these little lines right here. We might want to make them more saturated. Okay, let's put the other one back. And then I think we can just delete everything. Maybe just grab that bottom one. And then, yeah, subtract out of the selection by holding Alt, and then I'm gonna delete. There we go. And then I'm just gonna delete everything else out of this. And I'll even delete the block itself. That looks really janky, but it's okay. We've got a base now and we'll fix it. So I don't know if we can get away by going half as big on this. Let's go 1 by 2. Oops. I guess it's 2 by 1. Abdulraf, maybe Abdul Raf, hello, welcome. And Cyber, hello, howdy. I'm trying to make auto LODs now. Can you suggest any cool plugin to make them automatically? Unfortunately, no, I don't know. Not up to date on the auto LODing world. Fernet and Game says it's in view grid. Love to turn that off. Let me finish cropping and then I'm going to check that out. View grid. See if we can get away with making this a 128. I don't think we're going to be able to. Gonna be close. Oh, hell yeah, we can. Okay, cool. So I guess we can make this a 128. That's awesome. Okay, now images, image size. 128 by 64, that's perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna finish up the bottom here of this. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. Jacqueline can always kind of finesse that if she wants to. But yeah, we'll save that. Okay, and then we can get rid of the grid view. Show maybe? Grid. Okay, so I think the grid is something else. Show. Oh, pixel grid. That's what it is. View. Show. Pixel grid. Okay. Oh my God, that's so much better. All right. Thank you, Fernet. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'll put in that little doohickey. Yeah, I don't know who it's for. Someone must like it. And let's see. Where is our little wood clock doohickey? Oh my God, it's so small. sprite render. I don't think that's what we want. Let me duplicate our wood clock, and then we'll call this doohickey. And then we'll hook it up to doohickey. Okay. And then we'll just set it to like be its native size. And then stick it in here. That's interesting. You can't even see it. Be like a slightly different value, either darker or lighter. I'm not sure. Let's try a little bit lighter. So push that a little higher. And then I am going to add a little saturation to this. And then maybe make that a little bit lighter as well. And I don't like how we can see this peeking through. Let me erase that part. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Cut away that part. And maybe I'll even merge them down. I don't know. Nice. Call me Abed. Okay, that is much easier. Appreciate it. From community. All right. Hey, Nordexa, welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, crazy. That made it way brighter. So we need to make it a little bit bigger now. I just want to fit it right in there. Get right in the middle. It's interesting. This thing is not centered. Kind of crazy. Let's move the whole thing over like, look, it looks more to the right than to the left, if anything. So that's weird. Oops. Moved something very bad. Doing all kinds of stuff. Okay, and I guess I'll try maybe moving the clock up. I don't know how else to accommodate this. I guess we can leave it at the bottom and see if it looks good. Let's pop into play mode. Actually, I'm going to BRB and try to fix this weird viewer thing. Okay, doesn't seem like there's going to be any way to fix it for the moment. Well, all right. I want to see how this looks, so I'm going to back up into world. And let's just go ahead and put ourselves in developer start settings. Hello, Jess. Happy to have you. Okay. Let's go next day. Oops. Next day. See it in the daytime. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, and let's do the other one. see, how does her, okay, so she's got, oh, it actually is the same exact value. That's interesting. I wonder if it should have a little drop shadow. I wonder if that would look good. Let me try it, because it looks kind of weird. Like it blends in right now. So I'm just going to go into Photoshop and put a tiny drop shadow on it. I'll just go with outer glow, actually. Give it like 8 pixels maybe. Change it to black. And put it into normal mode. Okay, 8 pixels is clearly way too many. Why is it so... Oh, the opacity is really... Okay, I see. We'll give it some like low opacity. It's really actually quite hard to see the glow. Maybe I'll just go 4 pixels. Okay, let's save it. How does that look? Does that give it some more pop? Hardly. Very hard to see. Let me open up the UI. Zoomy says, curious, when you have a publisher, did or do you have to handle dubbing, find translators? I don't know. We've never had a publisher before. I think it just depends on the deal that you have with your publisher. I think that when you sign your contracts, they're gonna have things that they do, and things that they don't do, just depending on how the deal is structured and what their responsibilities are. But most publishers will do localization for you. That's just sort of industry standard. And I think voice acting usually happens more on the developer side. So this is pretty subtle. I'm going to do a slightly bigger one, or at least increase the opacity. Maybe go up to 5 pixels, see if that helps the readability a little bit. Honestly, it just looks kind of weird. For some reason. Maybe if I made the color like be more of a brown, in the more brown direction. Dark brown is probably not going to help it pop much, but we'll try that. I can't even see it now. Izumi says, I thought you did have a publisher. Yeah, we self-published Eastshade. He asks, isn't it more profitable to work with a publisher to promote the game? It just depends if the publisher, if you think they can do a better job with promotion than you can. In our case, we were just Eastshade was a very expensive game to develop. We talked to a few publishers, but at the end of the day, nobody really wanted to give us a deal that was like, they were giving us deals as if the game cost $200,000 to make or something, but the game cost more like $1 million to make. And the deals we were offered weren't really respecting that. So that's why we didn't really end up going with a publisher. And would the game have sold better with a publisher? Who knows? Maybe. I mean, we hired a PR company, and we did everything we know how to do to try to promote the game as much as we could. I think we did an okay job. Maybe a publisher could have done better, but also I know for a fact a publisher could have done a heck of a lot worse than us if they, just cared less or just didn't do some of the things that we did. We did kind of a lot of stuff. So yeah, it just depends. It depends. I personally would be more interested in getting a publisher for the upfront investment, just sort of diversify the risk. If we signed with a publisher and they wanted to give us like $500,000 upfront or something with no recoup, definitely no recoup, because if they had recoup and they gave us $500,000, it would basically just guarantee that they were going to make money on the game, and that just seems like we're not really diversifying risk then. We're just kind of giving them money. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There's a small chance we'd sign with a publisher for Glimmerwick, but probably not. Probably also self-publish. Folks, I'm going to be right back. Cyber says, optimization is probably the most boring task in game development. I don't know about that. I think porting admin work is the most boring task in game development. For me, anyway. Optimization can be really fun, actually. And it's the opposite of drudge work. It's like kind of the most mentally taxing kind of work. Very, well, you really use your brain a lot, I guess. I'm gonna go with this bevel and emboss, sort of a cheesy little thing here. And I'm gonna put like a color here instead of going, well, I guess we can go into screen mode and put some wood color. Try that. I'm gonna make this thing pop a little bit more. Okay, that definitely makes it pop, but in the grossest, nastiest way imaginable. So let me see if I can make that. Let's go chisel hard. Or, yeah, here we go. Chisel hard. Ugh, that one looks even worse. Let me decrease the size. It's only 3 pixels big. And I guess decrease the opacity. That looks pretty cheesy. Pretty cheesy. I don't know. I guess when you're really zoomed out, it's not too bad, but... Okay, let's do the other side. Back into UI. I'm going to grab... this little puck here. Here we've got the background. So I'm going to add a new image under here. UI image. There we go. And I'm going to put it to our new wood clock background. And then put it at the top. would clock BG, and then we will turn off the image. Oh. And let's see if we can make this look good. Okay. Are these the same size? Let me see if I can click on this one. Clock radial. So this one, oh no, that's not what the one, here we go. 138. Let's just go make it an even 138. 138 pixels. And then looking at the other one, yeah, this one's actually much bigger. Interesting. Let's maybe make 155. And save that. See how it looks. Let's see. Okay, so she has just a clean circle for this one. Maybe that's what we want to do. Maybe that'll look less weird. Yeah, let's make a clean circle for both and see if that looks nice. Cyber asks, how do you keep up with the development course? Does it happen that you deviate from the main idea of game development? From the main idea of game development, sometimes we have to we don't always have a strict order of how we do things. We kind of just make lists. We like lists a lot. We make lists of things we need to do, and then we just sort of start doing them. And then every few months we play the game and see what kind of progress we're making and how things are going and what the critical issues are and what we try to prioritize, what we think is most important. I'm going to turn off this effect and just scale down this circle a little bit. See how that looks. Okay, that looks much better actually. I don't like that fadey bit. Yeah, it looks quite good. It's kind of weird how one of these is way bigger than the other, but maybe that's fine. What if I did like a little track? I'm going to try to make a little track. So I'll select that outer circle. I'll deselect the inner part. And then I will create a track. And just move it in here. Oh my gosh, I can't even see it. Make it darker. Oh, I can't see it because it's too low. Let me raise it. Whoa, still can't see it. There we go, now I can see it, okay. I'm just gonna Control J it just so that we can make it a little thicker. It's a little bit thin. Something like that. We could even make it a little thicker, I think. Okay, and then we can make it a little more subtle. Now we have this little track. Wow, you can hardly see it. Okay, let's make it increase the opacity again. It's just so hard to see. Seems pretty cool. How does the other side look? It almost feels like we don't need that little bevel and emboss anymore on this side. Maybe we don't even need the drop shadow either on that little flower doohickey. Turn off all the effects, see how it looks. Okay. Pretty cool. Back out of here and hit play. Looks. Now I wonder what happens when I do some spells. Let me go next day. Go next day again. It's kind of a foggy day. Okay, let's move player over to the garden area where we can do some farming spells so that we can use up our mana. Okay. I think that this one isn't working because we need to turn off block raycast probably. Let me see if I can just do that right here. Spells, block, a raycast target. Maybe we don't have any spells. No, we do. Maybe this was the actual. Let's see, wood clock. No. Spell list. Here we go. I bet that this was the actual receiver of the. Yeah, okay, that's why. So we've got this size on mouse over. But it doesn't work if the image is not active. So we're just gonna have to replace it with like a blank image, I guess. Okay, anyhow, let's. Hey, you know, I kind of like the look of sort of more gray. You could even put like, make it like blue or something so that they look a little different. Or we could make it like a complementary tone. The Lucky555, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Also, Whizzler, I appreciate the follow. Thank you. Goofball Guinness, thank you very much for the follow. And WBNBX, thank you. I don't know how I missed these. I didn't hear any sounds. Izumi, sorry if I'm asking too many questions. No, you're totally fine. I like questions, and if I'm streaming, I'm open to questions always. Was eShade your very first game made, or have you made unreleased test games before eShade? Well, I used to work in AAA games, so I've worked on a number of games. And then when I quit, I started working on eShade. But then before we released eShade, I decided that we should try to make a very small game, my wife and I. And that game was called Leaving Lindau. And it was only 35 minutes long, and it is in the same world as eShade, but it's a totally different game, like kind of like a spin-off game. Different story, totally different mechanics and everything. But here is Leaving Lindau. Let me close this window a little bit. It's a little better. This is really interesting what we can do here with the color. I kind of think it'd be cool to make it blue like that. I wonder. Yeah, that looks really slick. Ooh, I like that, like midnight blue. That's cool. Anyhow. Okay, what I wanted to do was actually use some mana. Okay. It's really hard to tell when your mana is empty, unfortunately. That's the only downside, I think. Okay, but if we turn this to 0 opacity. That's bugged. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it is just so darn hard to tell where you have no mana. Because it's hard to tell that your bar ends right here. I wonder if we need to put a little stopper or something. Fernet asks, can you say what AAA games you worked on? Yeah, I worked on Guild Wars 2, Infamous Second Son at Sucker Punch. This is the studio that made Ghost of Tsushima now. I think they're probably more famous for. I think that game did pretty well. But before that, they worked on a franchise called Infamous. And I also did, I worked at an outsourcing studio doing outsourcing work on a zombie game called State of Decay. Thanks, Izumi. Hello, Sensei. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I don't think this is going to get any better. You can hardly tell. I wonder if we can mess with the color here of... It's also weird when the size increases. Doesn't really do anything. I feel like it needs to do more than that. So here the size increases. Oh, there's an activate on size up. That could be interesting. Maybe like a little color or something. Maybe that would be better than a size increase. Okay, but first I want to worry about the bar. Let's see, which one is it? It's probably the... Here. Fill background. So if I went completely black, it is easier to see, but it looks bad. I hate going completely... I never like using 000 as a color. Oh, what if I went lighter? Lighter seems to work better because it's such a dark thing. Yeah, I think we're going to have to go lighter. We're just going to have to go even lighter than that, like 22. Okay. Yeah, it's value 22. Easier to see now, but it looks bad. Go value 20. Let's try that. Value 20. Chrono Sheep, hello, asks, how did you land on the 2D, 3D art style for Glimmerwick? Did you have experience with it before? No, never. Totally new. Really, just Jacqueline has a style. She had a whole portfolio of stuff that she, you know, had illustrated. And then as she just illustrated a bunch of assets for the game. And then I was just trying to put them into the engine in a way that looked good, really. And particularly with the, you know, just trying to make the whole game look like a cohesive illustration. I think that a lot of games, that have a lot of hand-drawn or illustrated art in them, they tend to feel very like, I call it like lollipop land, where you have just like ground that looks very gamey, and then you have these illustrations sitting on the ground, and it doesn't look like one big illustration. And I guess the way we ended up with this particular art pipeline and rendering style is just me trying to make it look like one cohesive illustration. So having to do like crazy terrain shaders and eventually working out, you know, the proxified buildings and everything so that the players could actually walk around the buildings. And we didn't want, like, a lot of games have these illustrated buildings, like Don't Starve is a great looking game, but it has the lollipop thing going where it doesn't really feel like it feels very much like a game world where like everything, like you have the ground and then you have the lollipops, and then like here's a building in Don't Starve, right? It's just like one tiny little thing and everything is a little lollipop, and it works great for that game. But for ours, I just wanted the environments to feel like one big illustration, and we both wanted the game to feel more realistic in the construction of the environments. Like, yes, the trees are clearly illustrated, but we wanted them to be more closer to the size of a real tree. Not like a lot of trees in these illustrated games, like, or in these cute games, the trees are like the same size as the avatar, and the avatar's head is super big, and we didn't want those kinds of proportions. We wanted it to feel like walking through a real forest more. And because we needed some props so big, then it sort of changed the way that we were looking at the world. It sort of pushed it more in like a 3D environment direction. That was a great question. Sorry for the tangent there. Hello, Clucky. I played Eastshade for the first time in a few months. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for playing Eastshade. Really appreciate that. Profound effect. Oh, you're too kind. Absolutely loved exploring a beautifully crafted world, meeting the inhabitants. Thank you very much for sharing it with the world. Very excited for Glimmerwick. Thank you for playing Eastshade, and thank you so much for the kind words. It means a lot to us. Definitely means a lot to me. Never gets old hearing. So I'm so glad you enjoyed it, and I'm so glad it brought you some calm and some distraction, and hopefully a little bit of the magic of Eastshade rubbed off onto the real world. That's what I like to think happens anyway with whimsical fantasy media. Hey, Valley of the Wind. Snufkin was a recent game that I thought did well with the story. Snufkin looks freaking fantastic. I love the way Snufkin looks, and I totally agree. I think that Snufkin game, I don't remember, yeah, Valley or Melody of Moomin Valley is the name of the game. I really like the way Snufkin looks. It doesn't look like Lollipop Land. Like, it looks maybe a little bit more Lollipop Land than Glimmerwick, but you know, that's just kind of a different style that they chose. But this is Snufkin. I thought the game looked really fantastic. One of the better looking illustrated games for sure. Beautiful game. I haven't played it. Should probably play it. I probably like it. Fuff Test, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Also, Riddle Buddy, appreciate the follow. And I think Clucky was the person I thanked last in my last round of thank yous. Okay. So I just want to, we settled on 20, I think, for the mana bar background fill. Right. Yeah. We could even go really light if we wanted to, but I'll leave it like that. I think you can see it. It's not too hard to see. We might take out the track. It might make it easier to see. If it makes it easier to see, then that's worth doing because it's just really hard to see right now. So I'm going to go into Photoshop and take out the little track we made here. No, it actually makes it, does it make it harder to see? I don't know. It's kind of a wash. Hello, Lauren. Welcome, welcome. Milestone, hey, welcome to the stream. Great to catch the stream. Thank you for dropping by. For each shade in this game, are you manually placing every rock, bush, tree, and other object in the world? How do you reason about the time it takes / reusability? Yeah, we place everything. It doesn't really take that long, honestly. I mean, I guess the way I see it is like this whole field, you know, placing them doesn't take a long time. Figuring out how to make it look good takes a long time. And figuring out what the shtick is going to be, like what the solution is going to be. Like this area, the visual solution is like medium green ground with a light road with a very scraggly line to the road. Like it's not just like smooth, it's like very scraggly. And that's because of the terrain shader with a bunch of this like lavender colored wheat stuff punctuated with the rocks and the green shrub. So that's the shtick. That's the sort of look. And coming up with that takes a good amount of time, a few days. You know, you're just swapping stuff out, messing around with the density, trying to get the shader to do interesting things with the road. And once you have that, you could make this area as big as you want. I could make 2 miles of this if I wanted. It really wouldn't be hard. Like it wouldn't take very long. I could even just grab this entire terrain with everything and I could rotate it so that the road has a different shape. You would never know. You know, I could play with the scale a little bit. Like I could definitely author a bunch of this area and it wouldn't take me that long, maybe a few more days. But we don't want that much of that area because it'll just be boring. Like we don't want to make players walk across all that. So we try to make a very dense world. And so when it comes to like procedural generation and you know, procedural placement of props, it doesn't help us because it's really easy to get a program to scatter something, but it's really hard to get a program to scatter it in a way that looks good. And so long as the actual figuring out how to make it look good part takes a long time, in both cases, whether you're working on a program to do it or whether you're doing it by hand, the actual final placing it down takes like 5% of the time. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. I've never really felt like procedural generation solved any of the problems of building an interesting world. If I wanted to make 1,000 square miles of this stuff, then yeah, I would have to come up with some kind of procedure to it. Maybe I could hand author a whole swath of it and have it tile or something if I wanted to have a more hand authored look. But we just don't have a big enough world, and we do have a really big world to justify. It's not even the size of the world, it's we don't have a samey enough world to need procedural generation. We don't have enough land mass, I guess. Let me catch up. Sorry for the rant. Milestone says, especially for these open world games, do you gray box areas out and then add more detail over time? Or do you 100% by area? I think different areas have different methods. Like sometimes we know we need an area, so we might do like a gray box or a first pass sort of thing. But other times we do art development. Like, whoa, wouldn't it be cool to have a swamp here? Let's see if we can make a swamp look good. And then once we have the swamp looking good, then we might add like the quests and NPCs and stuff. But I think it's just kind of random for every area. But Glimmerwick's not the kind of game that needs really needs really careful level design. Like some games, particularly platformers, the gray box phase tends to be really important because you have certain jump heights and jump distances, and then you have, you want to make things in a way like, okay, how many different platforms do we want here? What kind of impasses do we want? Since we're making an adventure game, the environment doesn't really pull that kind of weight. The job is just to make it have a sense of place and make it very beautiful. Is the road non-destructive and generated on top of the grass terrain? No, the road is 100% destructive. It's just literally in the vertex color. I can even find a section of terrain. I can't even select the terrain because there's so much shit on top of it. So it's just geometry, and then I just paint in the vertex color where the road goes. And then if I need to move the road, I just open up the Blender file and erase the vertex color and paint it somewhere else. You have the same approach for Eastshade. The Eastshade world is much smaller than Glimmerwick. Glimmerwick is actually quite large. But no, Eastshade, yeah, same exact approach, did everything by hand. Placed every single rock, every single pebble by hand. Sometimes we would make a little, call them stamps, where like we would create something pretty like a tree with some ferns growing out of the bottom and then a little bit of shrubbery around it and some rocks and support rocks. You make it look really pretty, and then you select all that stuff and make it into what we call a stamp. And then I can use that stamp anywhere, and we just had a little script that would make it conform to the terrain. So we didn't have to worry about like setting it right onto the terrain. And that helped us it just made things faster for fleshing out areas that already look good because you already spent a lot of time on the individual stamp. You stamp that around. I'm very much into stamping and copying around groups of placements rather than trying to procedurally generate stuff, I guess. Once you have a big enough stamp, you can go huge with it. You can like if you arted a whole mountain and it was like not a super specific mountain that had really specific features, you could art maybe 2 or 3 of those mountains, and then you could just copy that whole mountain and scale some of them and rotate some of them, and it'll feel completely different depending on what's around the mountain. You wouldn't even know it was the same mountain. Hey, Charles Cleven. I didn't know there was a game. Yeah. Good questions, Milestone. Thank you for the questions. Appreciate it. And letting me wag my tongue. Glimmerwick is larger than Eastshade. Yeah, for sure. Especially when you include the interiors, because the interiors, there's a crap ton of them. Fine. Okay. So the only other thing I wanted to do for the flute, essentially, let me go ahead and apply all. Hour and 11. Is I want to do, where is it? One of these things. Not here, expand spell button. Okay. So here we need to have this active, and I'll just turn off. Oh man, I keep making changes at the scene level. I want to be making them in the prefab level. Charles Cleveland asked, was that your baby? My baby is babbling in another room, but I feel like it would be really hard to hear. It's pretty quiet. Oh. Like, there's also a lawnmower going outside that's probably louder than that. So I don't know if what you heard was my baby, but my baby is saying stuff. Good boy. I want to select this. I'm just going to click 1,000 times. Okay, here we go. And then here's the expand spell button. And we've got this activate on size up. Where's that? Here we go. Activate on size up. So I'm going to add a new image in here. And let's get like, what is the image of this one? Block BG, really? Oh yeah, okay. Block BG then. Okay, and let's just get it behind the flute. Why is the flute so faint? Yeah, I feel like this thing has to be drawing on top, right? Let's move it below. Weird. Oh, the flute has pretty low opacity, right? Yeah, the flute has super low opacity. Okay. So let's put like a color on this, indicate that it's being selected. I don't know. Maybe we just want like a circle border. Maybe that would be better actually. Let's go with like a circle or a ring, maybe line circle. Okay. Oren, hello and welcome, and thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate that, very kind to you. Welcome, welcome. Anyone new to the stream, we are working on a video game called Songs of Glimmerwick, which is a Witch Academy RPG. I'm going to invoke the MooBot here. In case anyone wants to check out the game, just sort of a high-level overview. What the heck is this game? What does it look like? Head over to our Steam page and you can see our trailer there, or just pop through the screenshots, see what it looks like. We've been working on it for a very long time, going on 5 years now. My wife and I and one other full-time programmer, so we're a team of 3 full-timers, and we've been making this game, funded by our last game called Eastshade, which is a first-person open-world game where you play as a traveling artist. Man, I haven't pitched that game in a long time. Gotta work on the pitch. Gotta remember how to pitch it. Okay, so I'm gonna make a little white ring around here. Select border, we'll call it. And then I'm gonna turn it off, and then I'm gonna hook that little ring up to activate on size up. Activate on size up. Okay, save. All right, let's see how that looks. I have no idea if that's going to look good or not. Hop into play mode. It definitely makes it a lot clearer that you've selected it, and I like that. I don't know if it needs to be quite so bright. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think that the background here needs to be a little darker. See if we can make that happen. So just to like visualize what it's going to look like. Give it a little bit more darkness here. And that'll just make the icon pop more. And see it more easily. I'm going to copy that color. Okay, that's good. I like that. Milestone says, were you able to take some time off between Eastshade and this game, or did you get started pretty much immediately after Eastshade shipped? It was kind of an interesting transition because after Eastshade, I was just working on support, like mostly optimization on Eastshade. I just kept pushing patches and also working on the console ports. And then after about a year, I just kind of like, I would work on Glimmerwick for my own sanity because I was so sick of working on Eastshade at that time. So I'd work on Glimmerwick for like a week, and then I'd go back to the Eastshade slog. And then, you know, it started to come off it more. Then I'd work on Glimmerwick for 2 weeks, and then back to the Eastshade slog. But eventually, I finally decided that, you know, I think it's good. I think I pushed my last patch on Eastshade, and I'm going to go on to Glimmerwick. But my wife and I, we did take a big extended trip through Europe for 3 months, but that was actually a few years after we already worked on Eastshade. So we take our breaks, but just kind of at random times, not necessarily right after the game ships. I find that once you ship a game, taking a break is a very unnatural time to take a break. You tend to be very busy once the game ships, and you just sort of slowly, I wish there was like, you know, a moment where you're like, I'm done, and then you get to celebrate and you know, go party for a little bit and relax. But it really doesn't feel like that. It feels like you get to the climax and you're as busy as you've ever been, and you're grinding harder than you've ever grinded, and then you slowly step down each month. You're grinding a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. It's like a slow ramp off of like the peak busyness. Hackpoke, thank you for the follow. Also, SSS Silas AOE, thank you for the follow. I don't know how I missed that one, but thank you. And SSS asks, it's 2D ISO or fake? It's pop. I call it pop-up 3D, where we've got a bunch of little cards with illustrations, but then also some of the buildings have like 3D mesh proxies. So this one is actually fairly modeled out, especially the blades. But then a lot of things are just cards. And here's like the town. So we've got a lot of stuff. At least one side of the building has a 3D proxy on it. And then Jacqueline, my wife and lead artist for the game, she makes an illustration, like she's drawn this whole building, and then we project that illustration onto the 3D proxy. Charles Cleveland asks about burnout. I myself have never burned out. Yeah, I have not had to face burnout yet. Maybe a little bit toward the end of Eastshade, but it didn't feel like burnout. I feel like burnout was deep. I still wanted to work. Like I still desperately wanted to make games. I just didn't want to work on Eastshade anymore. And that's not really burnout. I think burnout is when you don't, whatever your job is, you just can't even fathom doing it anymore. Fortunately, I haven't been in that position. Hey, E. Baron, thank you very much for playing our games, to you and your brother. And thank you very much for the kind words, and so glad you enjoy our games. Okay, so I just wanted to put in that color behind the flute that I had going. Expand spell. So here we'll paste in the color. Yeah, just sort of darken the background, I think. Helpful. Cool. That's safe. I think it helps with burnout because we're pretty chill, honestly. Like if I really don't feel like working, I just won't. Like that's happened to me before, where I'll just wake up and I just don't feel like working. I just don't. they just don't work. And I always know that I will, you know, the inspiration will come back. Also, there are some weeks where I just am not really, I call it like not being on the horse, or like having fallen off the horse. And that's when I just like, I'm sort of into it, but I can only muster a few good hours a day. And I just do that, do a few good hours a day and just say, you know, the things are moving forward, and do whatever else, you know, I'm into. And then finally the inspiration will come back, and I call it, I'm being back on the horse. And then I'm working, you know, full days again or more. Bye, Devin Colin. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Yeah, we're very fortunate in that way. And the only real pressure we have is just our production costs, because like every day we spend working on the game, you know, it's costing us money. We don't make any money from, we make money from the sales of Eastshade, but the sooner we can ship our game, the sooner we can get another revenue stream up. So it's really just, you know, how much do we want to spend on the game? That's our only pressure for how chill we're allowed to be when we work on it. If we want to be really, really chill and work 1 day a week, well, the game's going to take like 15 years. And, you know, we don't actually have enough money to do that. So, you know, we need to be somewhat reasonable about keeping things moving. But overall, the development of Glimmerwick has been pretty chill, maybe even too chill, I think. We had a baby, and that tends to... it's hard to keep working with the same intensity. Okay, so what else is on the list? I've replaced these UI things. I hope that Jacqueline likes them. I'm going to go ahead and save GameCore. And let's see what's happening. Which side? Dead Robot Dev, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. I don't actually remember thanking Hackpoke, but I must have. Rukior, thank you very much for the follow. Much obliged, much obliged. So looking back at the handy dandy Trello, the ultimate Trello, the great Trello list, what else do we have? We have some notifications here. Okay. I'll look at those later. Actually, I probably should look at them now, otherwise I'll just forget. That's no good. Let me catch up with chat real quick before I do. Chairpan. Wait, Toripan. Sorry, the restream has chosen to make your name almost the exact same color as the background. Hello, welcome. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Burnett says, do you move with WASD or click to move? It's just WASD. And Milestone, thank you for the baby congrats. Yeah, it's changed. It's changed a bit. Definitely less time to work. We did end up getting a nanny, which we didn't for the first 6 months, and that was incredibly stupid. Just thinking that we could continue working enough and care for the baby was, I mean, maybe we could have, but we wouldn't have time for literally anything else. Like, we could have done it. We could have done, you know, Jacqueline does a full workday, 8 hours. I watch the baby. Then she does, and then I do a full workday, 8 hours while she watches the baby. And then we both try to sleep. And of course, new babies, well, some of them don't sleep very well. Ours did. Ours woke up 3 or 4 times a night. And so we were just like rotating like that. But then the problem was you just don't have time for anything else. Like, yes, you can work and you can care for the baby, but you can't do anything else. And that was horrible. And I know it's the way some people have to do it, and my heart goes out to them, honestly. But we decided that we'd get a nanny, and we would get more time to work and more time to do other things. Of course, it makes our development overall more expensive, but hopefully we can finish sooner because of it. And that was definitely, looking back, it was absolutely the right decision. The only wrong decision was not doing it earlier. We should have done it right away. We should have done it like on month 1. But it's okay. All good now. Yeah, and nannies are, of course, very expensive. But also, you know, developing games is very expensive too when you have your own burn. So, you know, had to to make the call. Here we go. Let's see. Let me work from the bottom. Okay, these I think we've already done. Okay. Forgotten about practical. Okay. So this I think is design items. Oh, she finished this. Awesome. 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 Okay. Next. Flower and MillQuest amendments. And she moved this to for Danny. Okay. Answered your questions and added new questions in the Flower MillQuest doc. So this is actually kind of the way, this is an interesting stream maybe, because this is the way Jacqueline and I do it a lot. She'll write a design doc. I'll put some questions or notes in the side, and then she'll answer them and adjust the design doc. So let's see what questions I have. Not too many questions in here. What? Answered your questions and added new questions. Let's see, where were my questions? So we need to account for her boat being for sale. Should players not get the for sale notice until talking to her again? Or should we just carry on the timer as usual and insert a jab in D's convo? I'm leaning towards this. It seems smoothest. But what, let me see, what is this in reference? Account for D not getting blueberry bun. All right, we decided that D will just be annoyed with you if you have still not managed to get her the blueberry bun, but she will stay. Oh, but she will say she needs to get back to work anyway. Quest log will update and you will be able to proceed across the river as you. Insert a jab in D's conversation. Yeah. So you're saying the boat can be for sale even when D potentially is still by the waterfall if players have not talked to her and not made her a blueberry bun? Oh, let's see. So in the second solution, all right, cool. Okay, so I've looked at that. Charles Cleveland says, do you ever run into decision paralysis with things? Yeah, a little bit. Sometimes it just, particularly like I'll have like a Trello card hanging around in my list, and I know that in order to continue with it, a decision needs to be made. Sometimes I'll just like, no, I can't do that right now. I'll just leave it in there for like a month, 2 months or whatever. But eventually either it'll be the only thing left in my list, or it will start to have enough dependencies on it where, okay, this needs to be figured out in order to figure these other things out. So we just need to do this. And then you just pick something and you put a bit of thought and you reinforce your decision, and hopefully it's good and you just move forward with it. And if it ends up not being the right one, 6 months later, you do a play test and you realize why it didn't work, then sometimes you just have to change it. Usually it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does, and you just have to shift around. But I think that that's the important part when it comes to decision paralysis. You have to decide. You just have to do it. You have to do it. And it's better just to decide and move forward than never decide and never move forward and never be able to make. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So this one is done. Art for pet book is ready. No way. No way. She drew all those things? Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Let's put these in. That'll be fun. I want to see what it looks like. So let's go to our our little book, which is the habitats. Open. So Jacqueline has added some art. We have some images here. And let's see, how do we reference the images? Here, okay, cool. So let's find the name of the images. Looking at, okay, pet book fox and pet book dragon. I don't see a sprite for pet book fox. Maybe it's just a texture. Here it is. Okay. Cool. All right, check that out. Let's make it into a sprite. Actually, we should have pet book dragon right next to it. Yeah. Apply it. We don't need these generate physics shapes. Okay, and let's try to put one in. Pet book fox. Cool. I'm wondering if we want the background of this image to be the same color as the page. Probably. Or potentially even we want that white to be transparent. We could do that as well. Anyhow, we're gonna load in the correct sprites. Pet book fox. And pet book dragon. And then let's take a look at this sprite right here. See what we can do. So I might just turn off the background. Let's see what that looks like. The only problem with that is that you see the white fringing. I don't know about this border actually. It doesn't quite match. Let me see about, wait, where is the border? Here we go. Turn that off. Let me add like a adjustment to the entire thing. It's going to be a probably a hue and saturation adjustment, maybe. No. A color balance. And I think we just need to add, actually, you know what? We should do it just in the highlights. We want to add a bunch of yellow into it, and then we're also going to need to add we're just going to need to make it a little bit darker, I think. Let me save that. Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare to put in. I think the only way we can do it, let's see. Definitely too bright right now. We need to take a little bit of red out of it. And we need to add a little bit more yellow. Oh, these are midtones again, the highlights. Take a little red out of the highlights. Oh my God, that was way too much. Wow, this is apparently really fickle. Plus 9 here. Yeah, Unity can use PSD files, no problem. Well, this is impossible. I think it'd be better if we just removed that. Let's see how that looks now. We still have this issue where the line work is like brighter than... Is it supposed to be? No, those lines are supposed to be darker. So I think we just need to darken the entire image a little bit. It looks pretty good, except I still can't see the lines. Those lines, where are they? There they are. I think they just need to be darker. I'll just darken them a little bit. I don't think you can't change the blend mode because what's happening is it's coming into Unity, and I can't adjust the blend mode in Unity. How is it so... They're definitely dark. It must just be the... Okay, yeah, I've decided it's definitely the alpha. How this thing is blending is making a huge impact. So I think what we need to do is we need to put a layer below all this and get like a relatively dark background, because I think it's blending with white. In fact, that might just be the problem. Maybe if we just do this remove matte, that might for us. Yep, that was it. That was all it was. Okay, that is much better now. Cool. I think that looks quite nice. Let me try putting back, we don't need that heinous thing anymore. Let me try putting back the frame. Oh, it seems like we don't need those lines anymore. No, the frame definitely does not look like it was painted on the page. So that's a problem. If it does have a frame, it would need to be more like this one, but I think it looks better without one. Thank you, Ismat. Appreciate the kind words. Glad you dig it. Yeah, I think it looks great as well. I think this illustration is really cool. Wintergram says, this is literally my dream game. All right. I've been obsessed for over a year now and love to see every little update. How much harder would you say it is to develop this game versus your other titles? I'd say that compared to Eastshade, I think that this game is harder because it's bigger and has more systems, and has, I guess from a design standpoint, it's harder because the design is less clean. It has a much less clean design. There's a lot more things in it. It has more of a kitchen sink approach, I think. Not to say it's completely kitchen sink. It's still an adventure game, but it has more systems, and maybe we were a little less clear in some ways going in. But from a technical standpoint, this game is, on a performance level, this game has been much, 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 much easier than Eastshade. First-person 3D games are the hardest to optimize, I think. You can look anywhere, and you can get really close to things because you're first person, so you can walk right up to things, and they can be right in your face. And you have to account for that level of detail and also things that are far away towards the horizon. And it's just really hard, really difficult. And it takes a lot of production power. I estimate that we spent about 60% of our total production muscle on just optimization. So in that 40% was design, writing, art, programming, everything else. Everything else. More than half went into optimizing. That's what I think anyway. Okay, that image looks really cool. Let's look at the other one. Dragon. And then we need to remove matte, and I'm going to open up the dragon. And I'm going to turn off the backdrop, turn off the back layer and the frame. I'm going to grab our two, I don't actually know if we even need the color balance anymore. Let's see, how does it look without the color balance? Because if it doesn't really matter, then we don't need to mess with it. Oh, it seems like we might need it. Actually, do we need? Yeah, it actually seems like we still do need both of these. Okay, so I'll just remove the mask on that one, and I'll bring those both in to the dragon. And let's save that one. And then swap that out with our dragon. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I think that that's really cool. Maybe move this one a little bit down just to give more space for the text if we need it. And I think that should work. I'll pop into play mode and let's test this real quick. Give item habitats 1. This is swapping out, but it doesn't look like the image is swapping out, which is weird. Where is habitats going? We've got the dragon here. It's just not swapping it. So that's weird. I'm gonna take a look at the multi-page readable code real quick because I think I can fix that easily. Broheart TTV, hello, welcome to the stream. Says, I think I've seen this game on Reddit. No, maybe. Yeah, we've definitely been posted there. I've posted there. So possibly. And thank you for the kind words. Exceptional art, Broheart says. Thank you, thank you. Multi-page readable. All right, so we're just gonna look at where we're updating. So set text. I assume that we need to update the image. When do you actually touch the image? So we do it in set text. If the image is not null and the image.length is greater than 0, then the sprite equals the current page index. That's really weird. That is super strange. Huh. Image sprite. That is so weird. Let's take a look at our markup again. Let's go to the habitats prefab. That says, I assume localization takes a lot of time. Not really. I mean, it's just one extra thing you have to do during development. You just always have to make sure that you pull the strings from somewhere instead of just writing them into the UI. But you just as long as the tooling is in place, you just export your spreadsheet, your TSV, your CSV, or your JSON file, or however you want to do it, and then you just hand that to your localizers, usually as an Excel sheet, and they just plug away at it, and it usually takes them a few months. All right, thanks, Bro Heart, for the wish list. Appreciate that. Charles Cleven asks, so all dialogue should go into a CSV. It can. We use a TSV. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. Whatever database you want to use, we use a TSV file, a tab separated file, and we have one string ID. We have in one column we have context, so we always write the context, like all these strings are UI buttons, and then you have the text in the next column. And most localizers want an Excel sheet, so then you have to turn your data into an Excel sheet and give that to them, and then you just make sure that your game pulls from whatever database you want. Some people use JSON, some people just could load in the Excel. Excel has a proprietary format. I think you could probably load that in if you want. Yeah, however you want to pull that data, whatever makes sense for your game. But at the end of the day, you just need to get them an Excel sheet, and then they give you back an Excel sheet with all of the strings. Then you have to merge their strings into your database. It's also helpful to sometimes have a system where if you need to change a string, that you can invalidate the string that you got from them, and then export a new Excel sheet with just new strings that you need because you've changed them. We had something like that for Eastshade. Well, it can get a little hairy, but yeah, as long as you have those things in place, they're not too bad. Not too bad to make. Brohart says, do you think a demo this year, perhaps early next year? We haven't announced any release date information, but I can tell you it won't be this year. I can tell you that. Let's see. And thank you for the follow as well, Brohart. Also for Kira, I don't think I thanked you. Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out why this page is not changing, because we've got the dragon, got two elements. I don't know why it wouldn't. If image is not null, I think this is greater than 0. Sprite equals the current page index. I have no idea why this wouldn't work. I really don't. Oh, there it is. Wait, no. Never mind. False alarm. I thought I saw it. Okay, well, we might just give that bug to Jenny. It seems like very simple code. I have no idea why this would not be working. I'm just going to test it again because I almost can't believe it. All right, rock on, bro heart. Well, thank you for the support. Thank you. I'll pop into play mode here and see if we can get this thing working. Give item habitats. Open the book. It's so freaking weird. Let me get calm. Let me get calm. Go to the habitats book. So we are using the multi-page readable. We are getting set text, I assume. I'll do a sanity check on that as well. I'm gonna open it. Body, image. So here's our image. And then when I click, so it's definitely not changing. Let me see if it's actually changing to just, I'm gonna change it to something random. It's literally not touching it. Not even touching it. Really strange. Let me maybe put a sanity checker in here. I want to make sure that this part of the code is even running. So let me go ahead and check this out. I'm just going to log that text. And then we'll put in here set image. Update buttons. It's really strange. Multi-page readable. Gortiz, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. I'm gonna wait for that thing to compile. And then let's see if we get our logs. Okay, so give item habitats 1. Okay, so we got a set text call and we never set the image. So it's not running set image. Let me see what I did. Maybe I didn't just hook it up. That would be stupid, but I can't think of anything else it would be. Oh my God. Image none. So stupid. Okay. That was the stupidest thing in the entire world. I'm an idiot. It works great. I'm just an idiot. Okay, let's see it actually work. That would be beautiful. All right. Give item habitats 1. There we go. So simple. Perfect. Okay, all is well with the world now. Finish that. That was silly. That's verified. Let me see if there's anything else I can do that's kind of quick. Sheep need to be pettable with hearts. And that's, I wouldn't call that quick. No, I don't think anything's too quick here. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call that a stream. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me while we work on this lovely game. If you're interested in finding out more about the game, please don't hesitate to click on the Moobot link there and maybe watch our trailer and see if it's your cup of tea and throw out a wish list if it is. Should have a chat real quick right at the end. Oh, Fernet. Okay, sorry, I missed this message. Regarding VO. Yes, that takes a long. Wait. Let me make sure. I assume localization takes a long time. Oh, so we don't do localized VO. We only do English, and we just play the English VO no matter what version of the game you have running. I think many games do that. Actually, I think all games do that. I don't even know if, like, if you play The Witcher in Korean, do you get Korean voiceover? I don't think so. I think maybe The Witcher has Polish VO, but maybe not. I think it might only have English VO. Yeah, I think most games only do English VO, and they just let subtitles be for everything else. I don't know. Maybe some international folks have more information. The Foreign Tourist, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. And let me catch up here. See. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, rock on. Not common, gotcha. Okay, well, I'll call it a stream and hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next time. See ya.